Should you help a stranger in need? If you could get away with cheating on a test and you were pretty sure you could get away with it, would you do it? How do you act with people with whom you have disagreements? Maybe political disagreements, maybe religious disagreements. These are the questions that ethics tackles head on. So you might ask yourself, what is ethics? Ethics is a study of philosophy that deals with moral decision-making, trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong, how ought we to act, how ought we not to act. And this is also one of the things that we focus on at UVU in our general education class, Ethics and Values. We ask so many of these questions from so many different global and local perspectives, so many different disciplines, from religion, from science, from ethics, from philosophy, and humanities in general. We like to ask, what should a human being do in a diverse, complicated, and global world? One of the fun things about teaching ethics at Utah Valley University is that the students care. I have so many colleagues from so many different universities around the world who say, my students are all relativists. They all think that what goes for you, and what goes for me, goes for me. And we do have our handful of relativists here at UVU, but even they care. Everyone seems to care about right and wrong, and all of the questions that ethics likes to ask. So that's why teaching ethics at UVU is so important and so much fun. One of the things that we also like to focus on when we teach ethics at UVU is that we realize that our students currently are working and will go on to work in many different kinds of fields. That means that they're going to be interacting with people who believe differently, who have different backgrounds, maybe different languages, different cultures, and different belief systems. Ethics challenges us to be able to take all of these different sorts of considerations about what makes individuals and groups unique into consideration. So we ask ourselves, how can we find common ground? How can we argue with each other in ways that don't diminish the other? How can we keep ourselves open-minded? How can we allow ourselves to hear things that might make us uncomfortable? Because we live in a world where we're inevitably going to have to deal with these kinds of things. So ethics develops compassion, open-mindedness, care for others, and the ability to not always think of ourselves first, but to be able to think of other people in many different circumstances. So one of the things we like to focus on is not only that we can be very different from each other in our beliefs and our perspectives, but also that sometimes we agree more than we think we do. And it just takes work and study and care to be able to hear that we actually have a lot of the same sorts of ideas about what it means to be a good person in the world. And ethics is the study that allows us to do that. It allows us to explore these giant questions in ways that fosters respect and care and the development of interpersonal dynamics. Another thing about ethics is that it has many real-world applications. So for example, we train students in things like bioethics so that they can go on to work at hospitals on ethics boards. We train students in media ethics so that they can work in public broadcasting or in media in general, whether that be YouTube, Twitter, or in television. Because we have to take into consideration that we have to approach media in all of its various forms in an ethical manner. We also train students in environmental ethics because the environment is something that concerns everybody in the world. We like to think about things like indigenous ethics because we have many indigenous students in our classes and in our community. We have other kinds of practical applications such as the ethics of technology, and now more than ever the ethics of artificial intelligence. So ethics isn't just asking the questions about how ought we to treat each other, it also asks the questions about how should we act in ethical ways in practical fields. So what is your moral compass? Where do you go for your ethics? Comment in the section below.